Hello, my name is Calvin. I want to talk about two concepts. The first one is poverty, another one is single parenting. I will also try to bring about how these two concepts feature differently from one part of the world to another. I will use developed countries and underdeveloped countries, or developing countries for that matter. What is poverty? Poverty is a relative concept. The way I define poverty is different from the way another person describes poverty. But one thing that we all agree with is that poverty is characterized by deprivation of some things that we need. While someone thinks of poverty to be inability to cut off some of the bills, someone in poverty has to make hard choices between really paying those bills or buying their children textbooks. All that said, I must bring about the idea of single parenting and how single parenting is affected with poverty. If you look at a place like developed countries, let's take for instance United States of America, they treat family as a need concept. As so far as a nuclear family is concerned. But that's different from the way it's defined somewhere in Malawi or in Kenya or somewhere in Uganda. In these countries, the developing countries, family is regarded as a wider concept. That includes an uncle, includes an aunt. So this one gives us opportunity to define single parenting differently. To bring about the idea how single parenting is affected by poverty, in the Western countries, you might want to think of something like inability for one individual, which is now probably the mother, mostly the mother, are the single parents who normally head the families, to pay the bills for their children and meet all the obligations, compared to families where parents are two, because the two members of the family are able to bring their resources together to assist their children. One might want to argue that but probably there's a child support they are getting from the fathers of the children. What if the fathers are dead? He still remains single parent. And even if one parent, probably the father, is alive, there's no certainty that they'll be able to get child support, because it includes a process. There's a court process involved, or sometimes when women are involved in this situation, they'll say, okay, I want to do it, it's hard for me, I have to struggle looking for my children's fee, getting them food, paying the house bills, I can't afford a lawyer to go for this again. So they end up being single parent and do them alone. It narrows back to the children. It affects the children differently. A child, and the studies about this, who has grown in single parented family is much different from a child who grows into two parented families. I'll explain this. From the onset, just at the daycare point, a mother has to struggle between choosing to take care of the young child they are with, or going to work to look for money so that they can support the children. So they make sacrifices. They say, okay, fine, I'll get a cheap daycare. We sometimes have a lot of children put together. They have to stay there together. less qualified daycare workers, and still they have to make that sacrifice. While children from two-parented families have two choices, and both the choices are successful. They might want to say, come on, the mother will stay home to take care of the children, especially when they're still young. Well, mom will something for the money. Or they might say, since we are all working, we can contribute a little money from each side and we get a very good daycare. So that children can grow healthy, academically, and all that. So when they grow to be youths, this impacts them differently. Sometimes you realize a child who is from single-parented family has to move out of school, sometimes to do manual labor. Of course, probably it doesn't happen in Western world, but you certainly have to come across this. Look for labor to be able to supplement what the mother is getting. These children lose a very critical moment in their life. They lose a very critical moment in their life. They are not able to meet the academic requirements. They are not able to stay in school consistently like their counterparts. So they might one time find themselves in the wrong side of the law because getting into criminal activities because they're out of school. By the time they are supposed to be joining probably high school, some of the children from single-parented families are already in detention or probably a correctional facility. They have lost a very, very important part of their life. So that is how the poverty keeps on moving in a circle. So it becomes difficult for them to break that poverty cycle. But in developing countries, it is different. Because family is treated as a bigger family. If a father is not there, the uncle will take care of the children. It's not obvious, but I'm looking at some statistics. The statistics will tell you that a very high percentage of children from single parented families do not successfully manage to finish their colleges, not because they were poor in the family, but probably because of any other reason. Because here, family is defined as a bigger concept. But you might not want to agree with me on that at all, but I just want to bring another idea that even with the single parented families in Africa or in poor countries, there is a possibility that single parents will find the burden so heavy for them to successfully make sure that their children get good housing, get good education, health-wise are taken care of, because there are gender roles that have been defined in the society. In Africa, gender roles are so real that they must be addressed. A father, most likely, would be in charge of education of the children and paying the house rent, while a mother would be in charge of looking for food. Now, when single parenthood comes in, then it means that the woman has to change the gender roles, and this really affects the children because the burden of being sustained by the labor of one family becomes too much. I mean, one member of the family becomes too much. So usually the children resort to doing manual labor to supplement on what the mother is getting. Okay? So that brings us back again to saying that poverty is affected. I mean, single parenting family affects poverty across, whether in Western society, whether in Eastern society, it affects. It's upon the governments, it's upon the certain members, and all the players to ensure that single parenthood is given some support. This is Calvin Owange. I'm glad to hear from you. If you have anything to say, put it down. Thank you.